The NBA trade deadline is a few days away, and I am expecting the Lakers to make a big time move. There are multiple rumors about what the Lakers can do, whether it's trading away Russell Westbrook, Talen Horton-Tucker, or staying put. But where they are in the standings right now, I do believe they can't do nothing. Something's gotta go. And from what it sounds like so far, Rob Pelinka and the Lakers can't find a trade for Russell Westbrook, which means the Lakers have to go towards another trade package or trading away another player to get a deal done. I believe 100% right now Rob Pelinka is calling multiple teams about a potential repeated trade package, a package they're offering multiple teams, and in my opinion, whichever team agrees to this package would ultimately get a deal done for LA. The report says the most likely outcome for the Lakers is that they stand pat with their current roster through Thursday's deadline, but if they make a trade, it will likely be in the form of moving Horton-Tucker, THT, and or Kendrick Nunn for a more impactful two-way player, according to league sources. The report continues and says the issue for the Lakers is finding players that fit the criteria. There aren't many productive role players on the mixed contracts available. The trade market for Horton-Tucker has also significantly cooled since last season, according to league sources. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about the Lakers and giving you some realistic trade scenarios that could be happening revolving THT and Kendrick Nunn. So if you're a big Lakers fan and want to know what could be happening, you're going to love this. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a very special episode of Easy Buckets. My name is Soom and I make basketball videos every single day. So if you're new, be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications to not miss any of my upcoming videos. If you watched this video and you loved it, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. It would help with the channel a lot. But without wasting any more time, let's talk about some realistic Lakers trade scenarios. The first player the Lakers have been targeting is Jerami Grant of the Detroit Pistons. And when talking about the best available two-way player, Jerami Grant is easily in that conversation. In the report earlier, the Lakers want to focus on defense and three-point shooting. And with Jerami Grant right now being the best player on the Pistons, let alone the most affordable two-way players in the trade market, the Lakers have been heavily pursuing him, but of course the Pistons do want a lot in return. Jerami Grant is currently on a 2-year contract, which means next season he could still be on the roster. So if the Lakers end up trading for him, he'll be with LeBron and Anthony Davis again. But with the Lakers right now needing more of a defensive efficiency and size to guard the other team's best opposing player, Jerami Grant fits that criteria, as he first was recognized as being one of the better defensive forwards and frontcourt players in the league that of course is very versatile. So far this season, Jerami Grant has been averaging nearly 20 points per game, but playing with Detroit, he knows he's not going to win a championship there or even make the playoffs, and he has been very vocal saying he wants a new situation to of course put himself in a better spot. And with the Lakers and LeBron James specifically having interest in Jerami Grant, this would be the ideal deal to land him. I believe they should offer up Kendrick Nunn, Talen Horton-Tucker, and Malik Monk in exchange for Jerami Grant. I want you guys to hear me out quickly. Earlier this season, the Lakers actually first offered THT, Kendrick Nunn, and their 2027 first round pick. But the Pistons actually rejected that deal and of course are right now looking elsewhere. But this is where Malik Monk comes in. I know a lot of you guys don't want to trade Malik Monk, especially as a big time Laker fan. This year, after signing a veteran's minimum deal, Malik Monk has definitely stepped up and of course has raised himself a lot of value in the league, which is simply why I believe the Pistons rejected the first trade offer, but this one they can't reject, as they could bring in Malik Monk, use him to be their future shooting guard alongside Cade Cunningham as their point guard, and then of course re-sign him in this upcoming offseason, as they do have a lot of cap space to work with. Malik Monk this year is averaging about 15 points per game, but I'm gonna keep it real and say this. I believe Jerami Grant is a big time upgrade, because even though Malik Monk scores a lot, he's horrible on the defensive end, which is why Jerami Grant will be a huge upgrade. And of course THT and Nunn are players to simply match the salaries. Jerami Grant to the Lakers is my preferred trade for LA. The next player the Lakers should target is Bogdan Bogdanovic of the Atlanta Hawks, and right now he's becoming a more realistic scenario and target because the Hawks are struggling and they're trying to shake things up quietly and of course on the low end. The Atlanta Hawks already made a move this season by trading away Cam Reddish, and right now I do believe they're trying to make space for Kevin Huerter and DeAndre Hunter, which is why trading away Bogdanovic might be something along their plans, as this year he's kind of in a flunk. He's not playing that well as he was in the NBA playoffs last season, and of course was a big reason why they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. But if you watch Atlanta games, you can tell he's not hitting his shots, he's not comfortable, he's not confident, which is simply why I believe he'll be a great fit for the Lakers, to being a great starting caliber player that of course can space the floor and be beneficial when it comes to being a shooting guard that can shoot at a high efficient rate, similar to a Joe Harris role. It's a simple trade, the Lakers offering up Talon Horton-Tucker and Kendrick Nunn in exchange for Bogdan Bogdanovic. I believe this is a good deal for both teams. On the Hawks' perspective, they get a backup point guard of Kendrick Nunn to back up Trae, and I believe with Kendrick Nunn coming back very soon and it's going to be healthy, Trae would need a more of a veteran player off the bench to kind of assist him, but of course Trae would still run the team. On the other end, THT has a lot of potential, and with the Hawks' playoffs hopes slowly losing sight, and maybe they might just enter a rebuild or go towards a draft pick, THT could be a part of the future development alongside Trae, as of course he has 2 more years left on his contract after this season, which means he could be a part of the plan and maybe become the 6th man behind Kevin Huerter as a starting shooting guard. The possibilities are endless if the Hawks get these 2 new players. On the Lakers' perspective, it's pretty obvious where they could easily start Malik Monk point guard, bring in Bogey, who isn't the best defender, but not a bad one to space the floor and focus just on 3-point shooting and of course catch and shoot situations, while LeBron can still run the ball, and of course having Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis there. Bogdanovic has been a horrible player this season, but so has THT, and maybe both players just need a swap to rekindle their careers. The next player I want the Lakers to go for is Kemba Walker of the New York Knicks. Kemba Walker has become a very popular target because the Knicks are not liking his production. Tom Thibodeau is benching him, and there are some games where Kemba Walker doesn't even play plus 20 minutes. They've made it known that during this year's NBA trade deadline, Kemba Walker has become available, even Evan Fournier and Alec Burks. On the Lakers' perspective, the reason why I like Kemba Walker is because he's not coming into being a starting caliber point guard. He would come in this scenario to being a backup point guard that of course with his all-star experience and his veteran leadership could assist LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and even while having Russell Westbrook still on the roster. The Knicks right now are heavily in talks with the Lakers for even a potential Russell Westbrook deal. But if a Russell Westbrook deal cannot go down, I believe this is a great trade to of course replace that. It'll be the Lakers offering up THT and Kendrick Nunn in exchange for Kemba Walker and Nerlens Noel. I believe this deal would be absolutely amazing for the Lakers, as for one, they get a new backup point guard to simply score, come off the bench, be a Jamal Crawford, be a Nick Young, be a J.R. Smith. Someone that could be a scoring spark plug and not expect much from an overall aspect, but then they get a new upgrade at the front court. Nerlens Noel is better than Howard and DeAndre Jordan, and with the Lakers being vocal they need a new front court player as well, Nerlens Noel comes in this 2-for-2 trade idea and trade package. The next scenario on this list is the Lakers making a deal with the Boston Celtics, their rival team, and from what we're hearing right now, the Lakers are very interested in Josh Richardson and some of the good quality depth on the Boston Celtics roster. And of course, the Boston Celtics are struggling, so are the Lakers. Both of these teams need a switch and a change of scenery, even if it's just 1 or 2 players in the locker room after the trade deadline. From what we're hearing so far, the Lakers are specifically invested in Josh Richardson, which I simply love, and if they want him, I believe this would be an ideal trade scenario. It would be the Lakers offering up Talon Horton-Tucker, Kendrick Nunn in exchange for Dennis Schroeder, and as I just mentioned, Josh Richardson of the Boston Celtics. Dennis the Menace returns, and the Lakers get a 2-way player, which is a rotational style they need right now as a player off the bench or even in the starting lineup. What's special about Josh Richardson is he's simply a small forward shooting guard player that can space the floor. He can shoot at a decent 39% clip, and of course on the defensive end is a great perimeter and interior defender for his size. And with the Lakers needing more of a hustle man, that's simply where this guy could come in. One of my favorite parts about this deal is the Lakers bringing back Dennis Schroeder as well. Dennis Schroeder signed a 1-year mid-level exception this past offseason with the Boston Celtics after being rejected $85 million from the Lakers. And of course, coming back to LA, it wouldn't be the best thing, of course the preferred thing for Dennis Schroeder, but overall I do believe being on the Lakers this season is better than being on the Boston Celtics. So of course maybe he can come in and help them push for another playoff run. The main player in this deal is Josh Richardson though, and so far the Lakers have expressed interest in him as a potential affordable 2-way player. And the last player on this list is Eric Gordon of the Houston Rockets, and if the Lakers want more of a veteran presence that can score at a high efficient clip, Eric Gordon is your guy. The only problem I say about Eric Gordon is sometimes his health. He could easily get injured, or if anything, just seems to somehow always miss games time to time. But of course, there's the other perspective that he's playing on a losing team and he might not be invested as other people would be. But overall though, Eric Gordon could be a great floor spacer. He's a 40+% 3-point shooter for his career, and the Lakers simply need that right now in their starting lineup. Russell Westbrook, we all know, isn't the best shooter. Even Anthony Davis has kind of struggled over the past couple of seasons. Avery Bradley though will take a bunch of 3-point shots, but he's very streaky. On one day he'll be good, on one day he'll be bad. But overall, I do believe if we go for Eric Gordon, an NBA vet who's experienced multiple teams, multiple championship runs, and of course knows what he's doing as a sixth man and knows how to play his role, even though sometimes we see him about 10 minutes, I do believe he will be a great, simple addition in this trade scenario where the Lakers go for a more veteran presence but get a scoring spark plug that can help them win games in the late round situations. The Lakers and the Rockets are in multiple talks for a potential John Wall trade, but I do believe on the side they're mentioning Eric Gordon there and there. And of course, if the Lakers want Eric Gordon, this would ultimately be the deal. They'll offer up THT, Kendrick Nunn, and a future second-round pick in exchange for Eric Gordon. Of course, I do believe if they add a first-round pick, the deal would be sealed, but you gotta be smart and not rush this. But the Lakers know Eric Gordon is not a first-round pick. He's more of a second-round pick. So I simply believe this trade scenario would make sense as the Rockets get future assets and the Lakers get a player that can help them assist them in the championship run this season. Russell Westbrook has played with Eric Gordon before, so he knows his playing style. So when it comes to playmaking, Russell Westbrook can find Eric Gordon multiple times on those driving kicks, and of course encourage each other to keep pushing forward for a championship run. So yes guys, this wraps up my video today talking about 5 Lakers trades that could be happening entering the NBA trade deadline. What's most important to me is I want to know your thoughts. Which of these trades do you believe could happen, and is there any other trades you believe I missed? Put your thoughts down in the comments below. But other than that, take it easy, God bless, and I'll see you all next time on Easy Buckets. Woo!